Hello, French students. So, how do you translate it is or he is, she is in French? If you are studying French, you've likely hit that frustrating wall. You are definitely not alone. It is one of the most common stumbling blocks for learners. In English, it is or he, she is seems straightforward. In French, however, translation depends entirely on context and sentence structure. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. Remember this, context and sentence structure are everything. Let's start with the foundation, ça versus cela. Both mean that or it. Ça is used in everyday conversation. The word ça can be placed after or before French verbs. Example, ça va bien, except for the verb être. Example, c'est intéressant. Whereas cela is used in formal conversations. Let's look closely at c'est versus il est. Use c'est when introducing or pointing out a specific person, place, or thing, or when sharing a personal impression, like, wow, c'est beau. Wow, that's so beautiful. A quick checklist for say. First, look for a determiner. Is the noun preceded by an article such as un, une, des, le, la, les, or a possessive, mon, sa, or even a demonstrative such as ce, cette? Second, check the intent. Are you identifying someone, something, or giving a general subjective opinion? When you are identifying someone, you say c'est Pierre, c'est Paul. When you are identifying something, you say c'est un portable. Or when you are giving a general subjective opinion, c'est merveilleux. It's wonderful. It's amazing. In these cases, you use c'est. Now, let's look at il est. Il est provides a direct description. It links the subject directly to an adjective, nationality, or profession without determiners. So here we don't have any determiners, such as articles, le, la, les, des, possessive, mon, ma, sa, son, demonstrative, ce, cette, as we saw earlier. This is the key rules for il est. First, it is almost never followed directly by determiners. Second, il est, it's used for direct descriptions or occupations. For example, il est professeur, elle est médecin. Il est sympa. Used for nationality as well. Il est américain. Third key rules about il est, it's used for objective clock facts. For example, il est 10 heures. Il est 10 heures. Oh, il est tard. It's 10 o'clock. It's late. You also use il est in formal impersonal expressions, such as il est important, il est nécessaire, il est indispensable. But in spoken everyday French, you will rather say c'est important, c'est nécessaire, c'est indispensable. Now, pay attention here, it's very important. We said that when you describe something or someone, you use il est beau, Elle est belle. Elle est grande. Il est grand. Okay? But when you give an opinion, you don't use il est beau. When you say it's beautiful, it's an opinion. Oh, it's beautiful. You use c'est beau. C'est beau. Oh, c'est beau, c'est merveilleux. C'est splendide. C'est beau. You don't say il est beau. To state a general opinion about a situation, always use c'est plus masculine singular adjective, even if the thing you are referring to is feminine. For example, France. It's beautiful. You will say la France c'est beau, not la France c'est belle. So let's recap this point. France is beautiful. It's a description. You will say la France est belle. But it's beautiful. France, it's beautiful. It's an opinion. You will say c'est beau. C'est magnifique. And we always use masculine adjectives for opinions. However, you can use both structures in the exact same thought to sound natural. First, you introduce or identify something or someone. You say c'est plus determiner plus noun. For example, c'est un livre très intéressant. And then, second, you describe it, saying il est très instructif. This is your recap.
Step 1, look at your sentence and check for a determinant. That's your article, your possessive, or your demonstrative adjective. Step 2, just ask yourself, am I making a subjective statement or am I just pointing something out?
Think of this next part as a massive, glowing red flag for your grammar brain. C'est is typically what you need to use when the noun right after it is preceded by a determinant. You know, words like un, une, le, or la. If you see one of those little words sitting right before the noun, your brain should automatically just grab c'est.
Because of those little determinants, c'est is naturally used to introduce, point out, or identify someone or something. Take c'est un professeur, for example. He is a teacher. See that determinant un right in there? Or c'est une belle maison. C'est is also your absolute go-to for subjective opinions, like saying c'est agréable ici. It's pleasant here. It's all about how you are experiencing the situation.
Now let's flip the script with section 3. Il est for description and objective facts.
Let's compare our earlier examples to these new ones. Il est professeur and il est sympa. Notice what's missing? The determinant is totally gone. Il est gives us a pure, objective description. It's used for stating an unadorned profession, a nationality, or an adjective, and it's almost never followed by articles like un or une.
Let's really lock this definition in. You're going to use il est when you're stating absolute, objective facts, or when you're talking about time. You'd say il est 10 heures for the time, or il est tard to state the fact that it's late. Think of these as clock facts and impersonal truths, totally untouched by personal opinion.
Moving on to section 4, let's talk about the impersonal trap, which is basically the difference between formal and spoken French.
There's actually a fascinating divide between textbook French and the natural French you'll hear people speaking on the streets of Paris. Grammatically speaking, il est nécessaire is the formal, strictly by-the-book way to express an impersonal necessity. But in real life, everyday spoken French, people will almost always just say c'est nécessaire. It's so much more relaxed and natural for casual conversation.
Okay, section 5, using both together and mastering the combo.
You can absolutely use both of these in the exact same breath. The secret is to introduce or identify the subject first using c'est, like c'est un livre intéressant. This is an interesting book. Then you smoothly pivot to il est to give detailed descriptions without needlessly repeating the noun. Il est très instructif. It is very informative. Guys, it sounds incredibly sophisticated when you pull this off correctly.
All right, section 6. Let's put this into practice and test your knowledge.
I want you to pause for a second and actively recall those rules we just went over regarding determinants and descriptions. Looking at these, can you spot the correct sentence?
Let's quickly evaluate the options here. The first one says, Il est un grand garçon. Based on what we literally just learned, why should that instantly set off alarm bells in your head? Exactly, because it pairs il est right next to the determinant un, and that is a major, major structural clash in French. You just don't do it.
So the correct answer perfectly demonstrates our combination rule in action. Il est riche et c'est un homme généreux. It uses il est directly with the adjective riche for that pure objective description, and then it switches beautifully over to c'est because it's introducing the noun phrase un homme généreux, complete with that all-important determinant ah.
Now, grammar rules are fantastic on paper, but they only stick in your brain when you actively use them. Try walking around your house today and just narrating your surroundings out loud using c'est and il est. It's seriously the absolute best way to build your conversational reflexes. And hey, if you really want to take your French to the next level, you should definitely consider practicing with teacher Emanuela. She has a university degree and years of experience teaching conversational and fluency French. She can give you the personalized pronunciation coaching and direct corrections you need to truly master this stuff. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring.
Au revoir, à bientôt.